This episode was recorded at COPA, Africa's leading contemporary music institution, situated at 14 Park Crescent, Riverview Office Park, Midrand. For more information, visit www.copasa.co.za.
And the way I love Tux is that nigga, bro, came from nowhere. Not even you guys from Motswako.
Yep.
When he came here, he built with him.
Yep.
And he reminds me of me like that nigga. He comes from Mafikeng. Like he reminded me so much of me, like acne, dark skin, skinny, no crew. I came to Joburg in Soweto, knew nobody, got no older brother. But what I'm saying is that when Shoma Josie was launched, you can see she catapulted all the other female rappers for exactly that point. For exactly that point, like she was a light skin, like people still cannot decipher this thing out. Moto Eleng Mochangane can be light skinned because it's like those stereotypes. So that's what I'm saying. So the brain likes a puzzle, likes something interesting that it can decipher. She actually, for that moment, for who she was, Betu was in the game, actually her start did. I think for me, my GOAT is Zabs, number one. But it's a generation thing too, right? Like Kitaka Taka, whoever. Then I can say, who's a technically better rapper? Technically. Not what I love. The technique of rapping. I love Pro Kid. And I love Pro Kid so much that he fights sometimes to be in my number one. But at the same time, I don't rate Pro Kid ka bodies of work.
I'm gonna pretend like
What up, Magic?
Chilling with it.
Shabon bench.
Yeah, man. When I get to go about Oman because it's like Oman.
What you mean? I'm Taban.
Yeah, what's that guy?
Yeah, that's a very pregnant question.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pregnant question. I'm from Josie. I'm from Josie for all intent and purpose.
Sure.
Yeah, but geographically, culturally and spiritually, I'm from Stekspruit in the Eastern Cape.
When I've lose second chances.
Yeah, he's from. What's from?
Magiva. When Magiva.
Yeah, he's from. Yeah.
You know Magiva before the episode.
No, I get you to. No, I didn't know him.
Okay.
Because I've been in Joburg since 94. So we kill it Josie for all intent and purpose, but culturally and spiritually, I'm from Stekspruit in the Eastern Cape. Because that's where I was born.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah,
I have a house there.
Oh, I was thinking, I meant land, but...
Yeah, no,
I have a house is better.
Yeah, I have a house. And a mountain at the back of my house.
Allah sees what all.
And I give loads. It's a tiny. No, not season low level. Not season low level, yeah.
When did you meet hip-hop?
What do you mean when did I meet hip-hop?
Yeah, like it's a simple question. Ka MC Hammer?
Nah, actually...
Or ka power? I got the power.
No, you know, like, because we 80s babies. Well, I'm an 80s baby. You're probably slightly older than me. So we came up in an era where R&B was very huge influence on pop culture.
Sure.
Like who imitate Takoka,
Sure.
Leba, Boyz II Men, Silk. Sure. Then there was Drew Hill.
Sure.
So I actually came up on R&B, like Boyz II Men. The first time I actually fell in love with hip hop was when I had Nas featuring on a Mary J. Blige song. All you need is that. Oh,
you are. Yeah, that's not.
No.
That's not Nas.
It's like let me be your sexual love chocolate. Wait, I'm a sepa esku.
Sure.
That's how I discovered hip hop through Nas on an R&B song.
That's why you are a Nas fan.
Yeah, well, I became his fan because I also love what he stands for. Yeah. It was not even like technically rapping, but when I fell in love with hip hop, was me hearing Nas rapping a verse off of Mary J. Blige's song.
That's dope.
Yeah.
This is 90.
Must have been 98, 99. Yeah.
Then obviously Omo Josie. Unole Mitra University at the time.
Yeah. I was listening to your pod le proverb the other time. I was like, because I know him from there.
Sure.
Yeah.
When I attended
Yeah, he only did one. When I met him, because he was my senior, when I met him, he had left the school, Maruna Chekada, Avagates.
Hey, wena mona.
You heard it.
Tansa di file sa proverb.
Nah, but again, he spoke about it. He spoke about it. Yeah. That's actually when I fell in love with hip hop.
Sure.
Yeah.
It seems like you've met every rapper in the country.
Yeah, there's nobody I don't know.
Let's start ka Zino and his label where Proverb was signed. You knew Colin?
Actually, yeah, that's a. Actually, it's funny because I'm highly extroverted.
Wena?
Yeah, I'm not introvert, extroverted.
Oh, okay, highly.
Yeah, highly extroverted.
Papi.
Yeah, but I love a sense of privacy and an enigma.
Okay.
So when I fell in love with hip hop, then I was transitioning here from Body Lover Boy and whatnot. I used to write poetry, so I used to love how hip hop profiles or highlights self-expression, right? And it does not matter which environment you come from. So when I get to Jozi, obviously YFM then was starting to pop and stuff like that. The first body of work of hip hop I've ever interacted with was Maximum Sentence compilation by Rage. Then they had Expressions. You remember Expressions?
Yeah.
That was crazy. Then like, which company is this? Then Kiabona Rage Productions. I call, actually before Colin was there, it was JJ.
Yeah.
After JJ, it was actually Baxter.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't get through. Then they had Zabs. Then Zabs drops before Listeners Digest. He had a mixtape.
Sure.
He's profiled on YFM's Rap Activity Jam.
Sure.
He's promoting a mixtape, and then he says, "Whoever wants this, it's free. You come to Norwood. Remember where Bonto used to have gigs? Pop Bottles actually was.
Yeah. I see that.
There's this company, Kayara. Took a taxi from Soweto, Highlands North. Took like maybe 3 taxis, bro. And I met my hero and my goat in South Africa. I met Zaps, and he gave me his album.
What's in it now, worry?
Yeah. No, I said like I listened to the radio. I'm here to fetch the mixtape. And then I popped that shit. Yeah, that guy is a good rapper, man, good writer. That was the first body of work I ever got on my hand. Yeah.
Then Colin.
So now that was Rage, but he was not there at the time. So now, like, obviously, that's when, like, Bosquara Camp were bubbling and everything. I think I was working at the time. So, like, I've always had interest in the music industry from a showbiz point of view, like management or whatever, so I have ideas, like, I think you guys can do this with the launch, you can do this. So I had these ideas and I called them. Ne? So when I called them, I can't remember what idea I had. Then I got Colin. Then they said, no, come through. I go. They had moved offices. It was just after, how can I go Uvel? Bokutlano, Bozino, yabo. But I'd known Zino through radio, not through TV. Because like you would watch everything and it would say executive producer, Zino in caps. It would always say Zino, no surname. Like, who's this nigga? Bro? Like, he does cool shit, street journal.
Yeah. And remember at the time, it didn't go bala the credits. Even though I CD, bala everything.
But it's Zino, like, who's this nigga? Like, hack fikara. I'm like, who's Zino? That's the big boss. I wanna, like, nah, you gonna deal with Colin. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I wanna meet Zino, bro. I'm like, who the fuck are you to meet Zino? Yeah, so like I got there, the energy was cool. Kopanal Colin, and he gives me like, okay, this is what we're working on. BoPro, H2O, and stuff like that, Then we struck up a relationship in Nale,
Colin?
Yeah, because he was like maybe.
So you met Colin before Mike?
Yes. I'm more friends with Colin before I met Mike.
Is it?
Mike is his older brother, yeah. So when I met him, he was a kid, like he's probably 6 years younger than me or whatever. So, and it was his first job. So I started giving him ideas. I'm like, yo man, watch out. These are the American kind of managers you need to look at, because he was a manager. Steve Stout, I put him on, like, if you wanna build management around hip hop, these are the guys you need to look out for. He starts listening to me. I give him ideas. He listens to me. And yeah, then we had a personal relationship. So like every time Outrageous Banale project, I'd always like have a sneak peek into what they were producing. Yeah, so then I was fully in. I was fully into hip hop.
Mawethu ukuphalele kwa or outside the studios.
Fuck, yo Monka, I was speaking to Mawethu during the week.
Is it?
I was like, we need to have lunch. Then remember when we were in Maponya closure? Remember that restaurant?
Maponya.
Remember like I can say to go. Fuck closure, but I don't need closure. Mawethu banyana ba morata mfana. So like I think I met Mawethu.
Don't say things we need to edit.
I met Mawethu through obviously like he had a memorable Vesco heavy 8.
Yeah.
And I think he was the youngest.
Yes.
Squeaky voice, kid from the Val, which is also another very common theme about me is that I'm a hybrid because Kemosoto, but I grew up in a Xhosa geography and I meet people through hip hop. So when I found out he's Mawethu, Madempa bua Sesotho. So when I met him, it was like, in fact, ngwapi, man, then we struck up like a very warm friendship. And then, yeah, that's how I met him. Yeah. We hung out a lot with Mawethu.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Mawethu, bro.
Yeah, he's the homie.
Yeah, I love Mawethu.
Then, Glitz Gang.
Glitz Gang is, I don't know where this thing comes from. Like, I like Morel.
Okay.
A lot. And
I'm sure you like him because of I Am.
Nah, it was before I Am. He had a mixtape called The Rising Sun.
Yes.
Label Spaceman. Fuck, man, we go a long way back. Because that's the king of SA mixtapes. Spaceman.
Sure.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yeah, that guy, like, putting in studio work when it comes to a mixtape. Spaceman. So, like, I don't know how I met Mo. Like, he used to have the parties go Kapelo Kamo Gandhi Square, called Wife Beaters and what. And because I love also Cameron. And Cameron is like a very, you know, the rapper Cameron from New York. So Cameron is very flashy, Mara, he's such a street dude. Mara, he's a pretty boy, soft. Like he,
pink.
Yeah, like, so, because another thing like I love contrasts.
Sure.
I like maybe somebody who's a hard nigga, Mara is a soft dad.
Sure.
So when I look at Cameron, he was like, this guy is so flashy, overlebo Mariah Carey. Like he's just under Jay-Z, but I like how confident he is. That's why I also love Pusha T. Like he's so wabo. So when I had Morel, I don't know how I had, it was probably YFM and stuff like that, bump into each other. Same thing, I almost actually managed him because Nebadula mo Brimley.
Because I know better high level pitch everywhere.
Yeah, Kabu, Adula Mona Brimley lebo pages. In an S10, you know?
Yes.
Like we'll talk for days, I'd rush shit for him. I'm like, yo, nigga, now I don't think I'm gonna make money in rap because I've studied the industry. So what I always do is like, I'll give niggas game. This is how you move. This is how you. So you pizza Morel, yo, I'm Morel, bro. Like, come on, position yourself this way, whatever. When he was, did he win? I think he won. He was managed by Vusilio at this time.
Yeah.
Clap, Smile, and Bow.
Yeah.
At the Metro Awards.
Sure.
I don't know who he went there with. I think he won Best Rap. And then I drove back with him. He's in my car, he's sleeping. And he's like, my nigga, you used to tell me this. But one day I'm gonna get it. Even with my like English accent and whatnot. You know, so I've always liked how, because like Liana, he's flashy, but he writes very well. Yeah. So that's how I met Morel. So I used to do shit with him, advise him on business moves, you know. And a funny story happened was that later on in my life, when I was like looking for my dad, I found out that me and him, family-wise, my dad are tshwarana. Yeah. But I don't want to go deep into that. Yeah, but I found out my dad are tshwarana from Lesotho.
Dad or deep into when I relate.
Yeah. So when I was looking for my dad, I found out through my dad and his grandfather and whatever, like we kind of like related, but yeah, it's not something, but we haven't really debriefed it. But like we realized that, then I was like, maybe that's why my dad and
Did you find your dad?
Yeah, I found my dad, yeah.
What was the conversation?
No. I've always known my dad is passed, I've always known him, but I just never knew his family and his story. So when I found his story, In fact, I remember there was a guy who so I found out his surname first. So when I found that surname on the credits generation, there was a back to the behind the scenes like body DOP, whatever. So that's the name I was given. It's when I That's the name. That's Morel's surname. Malefane. Yeah. So then when I found out my father, I realized why they gave me that surname. Yeah, so there's brotherhood, like siblings.
Like
Yeah, man, like yeah. Yeah. It's because I'm born in a rural town, man, like without a father. And like yeah, like I always feel like I have to bet myself at anything. And I like that challenge out, but how can we? You know, like if I want the CEO, but I'm gonna find a way to befriend the PA. Yeah, like I find a way, bro. Like I find a way, like I find a way.
Yeah, no, definitely an extrovert.
Yeah.
Is it the reason why you once pulled a stunt? I don't know if it was because of marketing background or whatever. Yeah. You once had a crew of cameras and sound to follow you. I guess you never go back to the city there.
Yeah.
But tell the story.
So what happens is, like, I got these crazy ideas.
Yeah.
So one day, shout out to Osmic, my boy, I love Osmic. So one day, I want to pull a stunt. What's the stunt? So I'm like, I always see how when Americans come in, but Baba Sheveli, it's by a grand entrance. Ne? So like, it's a silly thought. I'm like, I could actually walk in here and create an ambience that I'm a superstar. And even when people don't know me, because there's action around me, everybody's I pull a whole crew together. So I get a crew like this. I get bodyguards. I get Ali becomes my journalist. I get a lot of people. I dressed in black. I get a drop top Merc. But I was actually writing the show. I was writing the proposal for it to be a TV show.
So
you can create a superstar of thin air if you create an energy around it. Even when people, because like in advertising, we've got something we call traffic. How about everybody stops. That's what causes traffic. Because something interesting is happening. That's what causes traffic, not the accident. What causes traffic is that something is interesting, everybody slows up and gives their energy to that thing. So it's a drop top, I've got a drive. It's crew, then is my so I've got like these maybe 15 girls. So Rabu, you'll keep calling them. So I'm chilling like this. You know, Tabis Khati.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Hip Hop Squad.
Yeah, Hip Hop Squad. So they gave me like, una manager Morel. There was time LT, una manager LT.
Yeah.
Hack feature. Everyone is looking at me like, yo, sir. Yeah, ma'am. Haven't been a Marland. Before the mic. Now, Morel get this celeb, nobody's checking for us. Like everybody have a feel. By a meter room now. Halt Michelle. Tino and Shema. What's going on? But he also doesn't know the stage again.
Yeah.
He thinks, did I get a new show? Am I a presenter or whatever? We do this thing, bang interviewer, but I'm mobile feed. They interview me. Now people are more lining. But I thought, how man? They are taking pictures of me. We are chilling there. But you know, we lost that fucking footage, bro.
I was about to ask, what footage?
You know who was shooting it? Isaac. There was Deka Nabinela, that quite took away.
Yeah, that's nigga.
He then loses the tape. We turn and look for it. And then after that, like maybe I started a family, I have a child. I'm like, I'm not so.
Pictures I
have. I have them on my Google. I have some few pictures on my Google. Yeah, man. I was like, yeah. So that was just a silly idea.
You know, when you join the dojo and they call you the wild take, I'm like, yeah, but nepi, look at you one. It was that nigga. Yeah, but I love hip hop, man. Yeah, I love hip hop, man. So, Baseline. Remember when Baseline?
Yeah, those.
Okay, I don't have to finish clearly.
The music series.
Yeah.
because Baseline like was a quintessential performance place, you know. But I was already incorporated then. It was I was friends with there was actually a lady that we featured on the dojo. Her brother used to work for Edgar's. It started off as Edgar's Music Series.
Yes.
Yes. And that's like where the melting pot was, you know, in terms of people that were making it out. I remember like Dumi and the Volume also did like a thing there.
That's where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
How you saw Dumi switch from Dumi to Stogie T, from the band to solo.
Yeah.
I mean, even before he changed his name, there was this transition when he featured KG Omorath.
Bophelo Bami, that's my favorite song. Actually, I saw that they put the song now on Spotify. Yeah. Funny enough, out of everybody that I know in hip hop, I don't know him personally.
Yeah. At least one of those I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know him. I know him proximity, but I'm not homies.
You can't call him.
I can't, but I respect him. And he's not in my favorite top 3.
Hiban. As a person or as a rapper?
As a rapper.
Okay, who's in your top 3? Let's check. Let's check your list.
That was gonna be controversial. T from the V is not top 3. No man, I respect his craft like a lot. Cause like, bro, like another thing is like I believe in nuance, right? And I always feel like, you know, when it comes to hip hop or anything, is that when you do rankings, is that you can unintendedly shit on people's legacies, because when we discuss things, we are so confined. So in other words, Hankar Kwena, who's top 3? You think you need to give me 3 names, right? But when I'm saying top 3, I'm like, the number 1 can be 3 people.
Okay.
Right? They can share the spot. Because if you have 100% in accounting, 100% will be number 1. So the way we frame things in our minds, top 3. So now we disqualify a lot of people that are deserving of flowers because the question says top 3. And it's 3 spots, not people.
Is that even a fair question doing this top 5, top 3 conversation?
Again,
it's hip hop.
Again, besides being hip hop, I suppose everything is balanced. I suppose that you need a conversation that lights up fires and gets people enraged. Then you also need nuance. The only problem is that conversations that are nuanced are not going to be profiled. Right? So, for example, I think for me, my GOAT is Zabs, number 1. But it's a generation thing too, right? Like Kitaka Taka, whoever. Then I can say, who's a technically better rapper? Technically. Not what I love. The technique of rapping. I love Pro Kid. And I love Pro Kid so much that he fights sometimes to be in my number 1. But at the same time, I don't rate Pro Kid ka bodies of work. You hear my point? Then I love Dukes. And the way I love Dukes is that nigga, bro, came from nowhere. Not even you guys from Motswako. When he came here, you built with him. And he reminds me of me, like that nigga, he comes from Mafikeng. Like he reminded me so much of me, like acne, dark skin, skinny, no crew. I came to Joburg in Soweto, knew nobody, got no older brother. That guy, first song on Wax was through Zola. Like, who's this nigga? I almost managed him, by the way, because Tasso, I remember, interviewed me at the back of McDonald's at Auckland Park, driving an Audi. Yeah. I almost managed him. I remember, I work with this nigga, so like now they are interviewing me. Tasso is like, yeah, you've been bugging me. Horo, now it's something Katux. Come meet me. We meet there, go McDonald's, Auckland Park. Probably 204, but like long ago. Okay, Tuxi Unale, a media rania. Remember those MTV basketball games? Kuru's Bank.
Sure.
That year, I remember tear gas was bubbling under. That nigga walked in there, knows nobody, Cavalier. So like now I'm like, it's like
go McDonald's or go basketball.
No, McDonald's I just meet Tasso.
Okay, McDonald's.
Go campus. Then he tells me, Dukes has a media engagement. Observe, give us pointers, what we can do, what we can't do, you know. Then I like maybe I think it was my second year of working after studying marketing and stuff. Diamond Wakena, I remember both Scoop, Lebolung were quite huge. Go MTV at the time. I think they got shows. It was a celebrity basketball game. that guy walked in, and like he's confused. Like, well, this is how I'm remembering it. These are not his words. It's like my assessment, you know. And he's an enigma. Nobody knows him. And he controls the room and the atmosphere. So then I tell him, like, you know, sometimes there's power in popularity, and then there's power in not being known. You see, and so that's your brand. Your brand is that you're not gonna be the guy that's known. And it's like, you know, like it's like take it to relationships, man. How can I go partying? Why the man this nigga happy, but every nigga is dabbing this nigga, you know? Yeah, so those like for me, like that was always my contribution to the game, like, you know, giving guys pointers, how to move about their brands. I mean, I worked with Kuli on Motswako Originator, for example, you know this. Then he comes sleep at my crib, give me pointers, you know, how about Motswako Originator and stuff like that, you know? Not things that like maybe I'm credited for, but like these are my homies, like I just love the game, you know? In fact, at some point, people thought I was from Mafikeng.
I was gonna go there. Your relationship with Motswako is a very strange one.
Yeah. Why you say strange?
Because of that, people think you're Mafikeng.
Yeah.
Until Bahuta switches go Sotun deep.
Sotun, yeah.
I mean, you've been to every Motswako gig, every launch.
Yeah.
Anything some Motswako.
Yeah.
Every interview sometimes driving us around. Well, me.
I've been on Jaba's video that I was remembering.
Yeah, go to 60s.
Go to 60s.
Yeah.
Kind of was that song? Limpit.
Bongwana.
Hey, I was trying to look for it. What's the title?
Teaser.
It's when you won a Sam again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we started in Sun City together.
It is on Dumela, on the Dumela album. Yeah.
We were in Sun City. Then we moved to Tobasia Status. Remember?
Yeah.
Then Ramonareng.
Uno tengo the track has Status.
Hey, Ko Maba King.
Mega City.
Hey, Ko Mega City, I was there. Libotlali.
That's my point.
I was there. That's why I'm saying then snippets of that video were short. I remember because that 60s, I think Festas was also playing. They were opening a road for this nigga who can no Monareng. Now we are in that bus, man, nigga. I'm like, Jeba. Because obviously I'd known Jeba. Like I was
there. To your house?
Yeah, you brought him to my house.
Well.
Do you remember?
Well, I don't know, but I know he was at your house. Don't put me in your story. I agree he was at your house. Just say, yeah. He was at my house.
Yeah. I don't know how you want this to go. Yeah, but you actually introduced me to Jeba.
I don't remember that, but yeah.
It was my birthday at my house. I was having a party. I drive some big booty BMW.
Yeah.
He bought me a whiskey singleton.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's your birthday. Like he was like, I feel so bad. Outie. Then that's how I met him. Then we became friends. Even like 2 days before he passed away, you know the story.
Yeah.
Like I was helping him with business as well. Naketa told us some rights. Well, that's my story anyway. Sir Rizla. There was a paper that was convincingly Rizla.
Yeah.
He had a licensing, so he wanted me to help him put that together. Yeah, that was my homie, bro.
I mean, you helped most of us, or maybe you helped me. I remember when he passed, everybody was saying, yeah. And it's a usual thing that people say when Mutatokafal.
Yeah.
Let me know when you need anything.
Yeah.
And in my head is generally you show up. How Tokafal right? But I guess it's awkward motions because where do you do that?
Yeah.
And when people say that, and I remember needing a power bank, and I called all those people on about when you need anything.
Yeah.
You're the only person who bought it.
Yeah.
So shout out, man.
Nah, welcome, Maji. We don't doing it for points. We homies, bro. I think the other thing I think you asked me that question about Motswako was because I have this rural upbringing, and Sesotho is closely related to Setswana, and rap in South Africa is very nguni. So when I had Motswako, I found something I can cling on and personalize hip hop and say it represents me, even though it was not Sesotho.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that was it. And when you came to Joburg and how we met, remember we met go Campus Square.
Oh.
You were go Bring the Noise. If you were male, or if one of us was female, and we impregnated each other when we met, our child would
be 22. Yeah. Pause, nigga. Pause.
Our child will be 22. I'm just adding context. If that day we met, one of us was female, Anoka Omung, that kid today will be 22, my G. That's how far back we go. That child would have finished school. That's how we met, my G. 204.
Yo.
203, 204.
You know, the funny thing is, I bumped into Leandro the other day.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt because I met him as a baby. He was a week old.
Jabasan.
Yeah. He was a week old. And now he's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, am I this old?
Yeah.
And now we are 22 years.
Yeah.
Looks like a long time ago.
Yeah.
And
Because the thing is, like, also music or showbiz, it's a young man's sport, or it's a youthful industry. So you forget how old people are. Because then, like, the way you dressed, like, you have many responsibilities, bro. But you are not a true, like, buntate bagajeku, based on what
that's
you
why
do.
I'm scotch.
Yeah, like, Glenn, like, I look like yo, but I have many responsibilities, dog. Our kids, bro. Like, wabo. But because the industry is youthful, we forget how old we are.
Now, obviously, like, your background is marketing.
Yeah.
And clearly, somewhere down the line, we missed a beat
Yeah.
in the game.
Yeah.
And Harinsa piano, Har Paka piano da.
Yeah.
What went wrong, ko hip hop?
Nothing went wrong.
Okay.
What went wrong is that hip hop is not from South Africa. That's what it is. The piano is like this because it is homegrown. You will never meet. You will never be the originator. You know how? You know Stogu Ntsembujang, cow rap. I see like reactions. Even like Americans love him, ne? But he'll never pop. Nasty C didn't even pop because invariably he still sounds like them. So in other words, when you listen to him, so if I'm an American, right? Ne? Okay, if I'm an alien, I drop in the world, Kutwa Nasty C, Kutwa Wayne or whatever, right? I'm gonna say these are two good rappers on earth because I don't know the demarcations. But if I'm in America and I'm listening to Wayne, somebody says this kid from South Africa, I'm like, he's so good like Wayne, but we already got Wayne. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, while he's ticked the box of being proficient enough to be compared to Lil Wayne, he has not ticked the box that says, what new market am I opening in America?
Is it the reason why Tyler is killing it?
Yeah, because Tyler is actually South African. She's like, she's got like, it's like, you look at her personality, like she's Indianish mixed with Bokalate. Because remember the brain, the thing about marketing is that the brain likes to decipher. Give me something I don't know. Like hali mixed. Because we like something, you know. But if you are pure black and you've got everything, I'm like, because you're already black, I'm not going to give you certain points. But if you're Latina, like you've seen Habo Fab, how the Libo Joey, how they like these Latina girls from like Dominican.
Yeah.
But you can get that girl in South Africa. It's just that she's black. So your brain gives more points to somebody where you feel like you need to do a lot of work to decipher them. So I think also with hip hop in South Africa that the reason is we put the yardstick to be American. We will never be because Americans are originators. That's why piano is big.
Then why didn't this lady pop, the one who was managed by PH, like John Cena, John Cena?
Shoma Josie?
Yeah, Shoma Josie.
Actually, she had it. She almost had it. But I just don't know, did she consider herself hip hop?
Well, at some point she won #1 hip hop MC MTV.
But that just illustrates my points. That just illustrates my point because.
But
when Shoma Josie came out,
yes,
her profile was all overtake about Babaya,
sharp,
who were like Lesebo Rouge. For that exact point, like in Elongana, Aling light skin, Marikimutonga, and we're like, and Unalibo American Nyana, and she's actually very academic, by the way, because she had like a Unalibo activist Nyana, like, you know, like people that are oppressed. Actually, there was a point where Shoma Josie actually, for a small moment, I think now she's married with a kid or whatever. Ne? I think.
I don't know.
But when Shoma Josie was launched,
was she nasty?
Yeah, you can check. I think she's just
check a move.
Oh, is it? Yeah, but what I'm saying is that when Shoma Josie was launched, you can see she catapulted all the other female rappers for exactly that point. For exactly that point, like she was a light skin, like people still cannot decipher this thing. Motu Eleng Mochangane can be light skinned because it's like those stereotypes. So that's what I'm saying. So the brain likes a puzzle, likes something interesting that it can decipher. She actually, for that moment, for who she was, Betu was in the game, actually her start did.
Are you saying, Jorge, what Nas said in 2004 or 3,
Haring Nas,
hip hop is dead?
At that time, yeah, from an American standpoint, at that time, yeah, it did die. It did die. He was right.
No, now, Mumzanzina.
That?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not dead. It's not dead. It's not dead. I don't think it will die. It's just not popping.
I was sitting down with C Live and
It's not popping.
he was saying, Jorge, remember there was a time where House had the prime slot.
Yeah.
Go eventing. How eventing? Hip hop when come up 6.
Yeah.
Or Pakela go Sameyu.
Yeah.
Are we back there again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rao say you again.
Yeah. When it comes to hip hop,
Yeah.
yeah, man, look, like I don't consider myself from being in the industry, so I'm always interacting as a fan and stuff like that. I think what Piano has done, it goes back to what I was saying. The brain likes something that is a mix of that's interesting. So how can Sheba lifestyle, they're the piano, not the music. It's a hip hop lifestyle. Let's be honest. These niggas in Fana are rolling with berries. They are on tour. We came up from an era where Ubukwe had filled him to you are on tour. You know, but that was not being on tour. You just booked, my nigga. My nigga, you just I'm on tour. You know, but those niggas are on tour. So when you look at the accolades, or not accolades, like the dividends that Piano has, are the things that Kwaito rappers used to, not Kwaito, SA local rappers used to rap about without having. You know, Banyana Banranela, Kimasepa, chicks in every locality. But they rapped about, but they ain't had it. Right? Now with Piano, the lifestyle is actually very hip hop. Even the dress code. Manega, case in point. You look at like global collaboration, Bo Musa Keys. How they get nodded by like very big A-list kind of like Louis Vuitton and stuff like that, ne? Coming out of like the mold, yeah, Piano. Like that boy, Una Rems, he's not 100% Piano, but like he's got a Grammy. Because they've got something interesting, and those guys have the attention of A-listers, right? But you look, bruh, how many rappers have come in South Africa that are A-listers? Like, Nto was just here, Lupe, ne?
But the same day...
He'll never rap. He'll never go into the booth.
But same day, Mfano Hadezunali.
Travis. Yeah. I remember, yeah, same day, yeah.
Yeah, so what are you saying?
No. What I'm trying to say is that when it comes to local hip-hop, or why local acts in South Africa never make it or translate internationally, is that you are trying to sell rice to Chinese. So when a Chinese person comes to South Africa, you've been telling me there's somebody who cooks rice like me. Remember what I was saying? Because I'm already proficient in cooking rice. The only thing that's going to impress me about you is that I didn't know there's rice in Africa, but now that I've tasted it, it's the same as me. But what's this other white thing? That is Piano. You see? So, Bob Pasta, they will say, yeah, you rap like us, but they're not going to go into the booth with the locals, bro. They're not.
The crazy thing about...
They're not.
About this, I remember when it was a thing, opening up for Mama. Remember there was a...
Jarul.
Yeah.
Selvin actually rapped about it. You must ask him about it.
Who?
Selvin.
Yeah.
Remember when Jarul disrespected us? And they stole, by the way, I got 100 gun from New York. Yeah. Nose.
I remember when Snoop came here.
Yeah.
Jabba was an opening act.
Yeah.
And when the guy gets on stage, they clear the backstage.
Mm.
Like they do a sweep.
And he takes a picture like he's also a fan.
Hey man, I remember, and then before he jumped on, I obviously was playing for Jeba.
Yeah.
And there was a turntable set up with a hey, where's I know?
Yeah.
Like Muna, see DJ Yana Mokoni, like something that looks like this speaker.
Yeah.
Like, and then T-Pain went to Blom. Kamakuv. Same treatment.
Yeah.
That's when I realized, oh.
Speaking of which, you know, Jeba Linez, I worked on that deal.
Is it?
Lidim.
Yeah.
Lidim, yeah. Like Leona, like very remotely, Jeba was being managed by a guy, Wale Portuguese Nyanda, George.
Yeah.
Remember George?
Yeah.
He was like Portuguese, Kaladish.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at.
I thought he was white.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, like, because I remember his name sounded very Portuguese.
Yeah.
Because in Reminder, Cinnamon Reminder, Jekam Fana Onawa, Aneta, Rocking the Daisies, what beatboxer. Yeah. So I was like working at Coke. Like even then, I was just a fan of hip hop. And that lady is my friend today. She was a senior manager at Sprite at the time. So Sprite was doing a lot of hip hop sponsorships.
Sure.
So they are calling, yo man, we need somebody. We've got this thing. We want Jeba Abele Arekorele Nas. Now, I'm like very low in the organization, but I'm like finding out who the fucking Sprite marketing manager is. I'm a rep on the streets. I get to this lady's office. And I think Sprite can. And you know, she listens to me. They try to work on the deal. It fell through, but then because they wanted either Nas to come this side or Jeba to, so that it's a studio session. Probably video, then it was too expensive. Nas, then, but they still do the collab. It's on Dumel.
Yeah,
it's on Dumel. So they record. The song is nice, very nice. Does Nas not drop Distant Cousins
with the same verse?
With the same verse on the shot. Jaba Asakwata. Like, you didn't pay, bro. So it goes back to what I was saying. Like, if this guy had listened to what Jeba stands for, like Nas, I think they would never thought. Like, I understand where he's coming from, but it was like, yeah, even though you're doing hip hop, you're still from Africa, nigga, you won't pay. You won't pay, and if you don't have the money, you don't have exclusivity to the verse.
Didn't they pay 150?
Yeah, I know the amount in my head, but I won't say it.
Oh no, I thought they didn't pay.
No. So they didn't pay for the full service already.
Oh,
this is gonna be exclusive.
I remember there was a story about Busta Rhymes. Nigeria. There was that type of deal.
Thing.
Yeah. Modeling video, recording. I think this guy paid the one thing.
Like make your own pizza.
Yeah. Busta Rhymes are
what avocado.
It's not gonna work.
That type of thing. So I think let's go to the point, like, it looks like what's important to you is to say you featured Nas. Now that we've spoken, it looks like that's what's important.
Sure.
So I'll give you that, which is a ready-made solution. In all these songs that you've recorded, you will figure out where does it fit. But we're not gonna do, like, it's not a studio session. It's like we're not feeding off of each other to come up with the song and stuff like that. You know, yeah, man. But shout out to Jeba.
No, before we wrap up, the dojo.
Yeah, man. The dojo are my niggas. Like it's a podcast that I just tried. Hey, fuck Lemon, I made the dojo through you.
Keep cooking.
So I'm in Cape Town. A friend of mine's cousin sends me a clip Sesotho. Because that's when podcasting was not that. Yeah, the dojo are pioneers, you motherfuckers. Kithola clip bomdise ne ba recorda ke Nala, the episode ya Nala. Na go re ke batla bona ho etsahalang. It was a very legendary episode. So I translate for her, wabo. Actually, this is nice. Who are these niggas? So I go on the internet.
Sure.
So I listen to them. I'm like, Kimosotho, the hip hop references, the same thing I've been saying.
Sure.
So two niggas, references in Joburg, remind me of myself. Because I think I'm also like 6-7 years older than them. Like, reminds me of me. And I don't watch TV when I was living in Cape Town. So I'm always on YouTube. Then I start going back. Then I start loving this shit. But I was working on a product. It was a vaping product. So I saw like they were vaping. So I was like, I want to give you guys this product to try out. and see if you're gonna like it. Then I asked you, yeah. But no, I know this next offer number is high. Sure. That's how it happened. So I called Modise. I'm like, yo, when next time in Joburg, Kopa na Lona, we went out. Then I started doing the same thing I've been doing on hip hop. I'm like, yo guys, looking from a distance, I think you guys can take the pod to a next level or monetize it by moving this way, by structuring yourself. These niggas are like, you're making sense? You come do it.
Elevator pitch.
They're like, yeah, we've been trying to get Cecil Lomo to feature Abba. You do it. Yeah, so then I started like doing more behind the scenes.
Did you get Season Lomo?
Of course I did. Season 4. And we call it Season Scoop.
Yeah,
Season Scoop. I was supposed to get Zola 7, Season 7, Zola 7, Episode 7. It didn't happen. It broke my heart because I really love Zola. So that's how I started helping the guys behind the scenes with brand positioning. We started getting into events together. Then we also pivoted along the way because they started off as more musical, hip hop, Twitter topics. As we were growing, it was reflecting
on life.
On our life. Niggas started getting married, niggas started having kids. So our content over time has reflected like where we are now. You know, God Fortune, like that's a very special episode for us. Good homie. Actually, Melissa always says that he changed his marriage perspective based on how Fortune speaks about marriage. And it goes back to that thing I was saying, because hip hop is a youthful thing. So when you look at the nigga like that, kill time. But you forget. You see what I'm saying? And then Rona, our view of what marriage looked like was always like, like I can hang out with homies, we have
friends every day.
I can be friends with my wife, or I wanna like go to festivals, so like those things like they demystify certain ways, certain things. So that's how we've been working with the dojo since they started 2016, joined them 2018. We're still rocking, and for us it's not even like at some point when I met them, I was like, we need to make money, we need to do this. Then we had to evaluate our values and what we think we want to stand for, and we'd realize like, yo man, the cost of making money is going to be too high a price to pay. So what we're going to do, we're going to make this our escape. You know, like I always say, banna ba dula ka sakeng. So we look at the point like, ke ka sakeng, ke ka yi, there's what I feel young Kawata, and we talk as men.
Is it a safe space though?
Yeah.
Because ka sakeng, banna ba ngwatang tosa sakeng. I did like but now 5,000 views. Really shabby.
Yeah, so that's why you gotta pay. Go to Patreon. How to do this out Lampatal?
Alright, cool man.
Love you, my nigga.
Ladies and gents, Thabang Sekaja. Actually, you need to be a permanent feature. Send me
a check, my nigga. Plus, I got time because I expanded my floor. I got time.
Okay, that's enough.